Questions for Coach Lesley?
Jordan, we've asked this before, but the continuing progress of the pass coverage, did you see that in the beginning, that it wasn't, really there against Penn State, and how has it gotten better, I guess is a better question.
No, I think we're fundamentally playing better. I think that anytime you look at, and I said this before, in the environment of the transfer portal, and when you get guys, the time of year that you get guys, and when you get them ready, like nothing is more valuable than experience, and that's experience within the scheme of your defense as opposed to where they come from, and it takes a little bit of time. So I just think fundamentally we're playing better, and I think that it's just continuing to improve on what we're doing, and so I think the kids are, simple as that, they're just playing better.
You like the way this defense is playing physically? I mean, from where I look, this is probably the most physical defense since you've been here. Would you say?
Yeah. COVID year, guys flew around, but yeah, they are. I'm happy with with where they are. I mean, we got a little bit of tempo late. Our pad level got where it didn't need to be, and our tackling lacked a little bit. I think one of the things that we've really got to focus on moving forward, especially in the middle of the year, is can't lose focus of the tackling technique. And there were some things from Saturday that we have to improve on. We're going to get exposed, and really knowing where and when I need to tackle high versus tackle low, which is just as much about the safety of the players as it is getting the offensive player down. So. But I said this a couple weeks ago. You can't. It's hard to change willingness to play that way. And this group, they're willing to play physical, and they enjoy it, and we practice that way. And so
you defended 58 plays in the second half. I think 23 in the first half, and then the tempo thing kind of kicked in. Did you have a feeling they were going to go for it on fourth down? It was going to be a third, fourth down deal the rest of the game? Yeah,
I mean, that's really their MO. They're off of I can't remember exactly the name of the company that gives you the statistics, CA whatever, but they're by the book on that, and then obviously you have the percentages, and so it's their choice. I don't know if it's head coach or the coordinator or whatever, is irrelevant, but they're really aggressive off of those numbers, and so knew that going in. They were that way last year, and so we expected that. I think we were able early to really be effective on 1st and 10, especially start a series and kind of get them a little bit off schedule. So that was one of the things that we knew we had to do. But once, and then 12 gets hurt, and then I think probably put them off schedule a little more, which honestly I wasn't. It's not like I was excited about that. That Baird Morton is a good quarterback. We saw that last year. So, but whether that affected their game plan, I told the guys at halftime, like, we're get ready for it because it's coming. Just as fast as they can go. And so we play in that amount of plays. I knew that would take its toll late, but they fought through it.
Besides tackling and that improving, what else have you noticed that's worked and kind of maybe shown the proof in the pudding from the off season?
Ramp it up a little differently. I think the first thing's fundamentals. I think the next thing is just how we play. And the good thing about that is we'll always have guys to point to with how we want to play. We give players a week, we give different awards, and Eddie Vesperinen had 7 tackles from the boundary 4I or boundary D tackle position. That's pretty special. The way Lee Koba plays, the way Trey Lathan's starting to play, the way Anthony Wilson plays. I mean, you have just references you can go back and show how we play, and the improvements will come. That's just we just got to keep working and working at what we do. We don't get away from what we do, and And so the kids, they know that, they bought into that, and I think that's probably the biggest thing.
What has Marcus Floyd, been able to bring since he got back, especially, the ways you guys have been using him?
Yeah, I mean, it just, Marcus is, he's an aggressive player. He thrives closer to the ball. And whether that's by alignment or by what you're asking him to do coverage-wise. And that's really where the thought of playing him in that position come from. Quite honestly, I had no idea that he was as good a blitzer that he was Saturday. I had no idea. I mean, get to about the third quarterback hit after the sack, and I'm like, man, like watching him, he has a natural knack. So obviously helps him, and good for that kid. The kid is kid had a early in the last year was okay and had a pretty decent spring, and early in the fall is a guy that things weren't really going the way that he wanted them to go at his position, and it's just it's his perseverance and what he's able to fight through, and now that then he's able to contribute at all three positions, and he just again I go back to transfers, and no matter what level they come from, it still takes time at different places, and it's in the second year, that's when they really, really get comfortable. So I think you're starting to see that a little bit with Marcus.
Another tempo team. What's their twist? What are they going to do that's different than what you saw last week?
Probably like to run the ball a little more. Off of those same, the same timing, the same formation. You got to adjust quickly. Got to get lined up. Got to get your cleats in the ground. That's probably the only difference.
Third downs, what do you attribute the success to? I think you're giving up 25% conversion rate. How important has first and second down been? I know you've always talked about the uncomfortable downs.
Yeah. First down is always key in that. It's getting them off schedule, getting them behind the chains. But when we do, I mean, it's really been just great team defense. It's everything working together. From whether it's something where you're playing coverage or you're simulating pressure or you're bringing pressure. The guys, they feed off each other. They hold each other accountable. There's a lot of guys out there, Aubrey Burks, Lee Koba and Jared Bartlett, that they know more positions than they know more people's job than their own. And so they're able to communicate and look around. And so that's probably been the biggest difference.
I guess with those guys, it's more about conversion downs, right? Third and fourth. I think you were 7 of 26, maybe. That's a pretty good number.
Yeah, it was good. We just, it's, and again, I always go back to the effort and flying to the ball and making, making quarterback make throws, making receivers earn their catches, and effort and aggression, and two of the things we talk about. So I think that's, again, it's how the kids play as much as it is, I think, schematically.
Jordan, going back to third downs, does personnel make a difference for you this year? The ability to have not only more players and fresh players, but throw in packages that can be effective because someone who's maybe more specialized for that situation?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it gives you a little more, ability to get the guys you need on the field, while still being able to fit things you may see that people like to do to you in a sub package. And I know people see us use both the we call it a bandit and a spur in that package, but pretty simple what we're asking them to do. It's honestly no different coverage structure. It's just having the best guys for what the situation is on the field at the same time.
You just talked about how the defensive backs are using their eyes better this year. Is there any way that can be turned against the defensive backs, if their eyes maybe are giving away where they're going?
I mean, I'll say this: you can disguise yourself right out of plays a lot of times. And you're trying to, sometimes you get in a situation where maybe either you overcoach them or the kid is trying to do too much and trying to hide too much in his eye, and so your eyes control everything. They control your feet, they control your hands. So I don't think it's, as long as your eyes are where now if they're coached to be somewhere and it's a bad design, well, that's on myself and the coaches. So we get that fixed. Or it's a bad play by the player if their eyes are in the wrong. I would rather them be in the right spot and doing exactly what their job is supposed to be, rather than trying to, if he's looking at me, if I'm looking over here, like we won't really get too much into that. I may disguise by alignment more, but not necessarily with your eyes.
Talked to Tyron Bradley a little while ago. So, guy moving up from FCS also sounds like a slightly different position than he played. What have you seen from him? Do you think you'd get the production from him you're starting to now?
Yeah, I mean he gives us a little bit different body type and skill set than we've had there. He's almost 260 pounds, playing primarily, into the boundary, and where guys like to. That's a lot of times where tight end sets like to focus on and big sets, and so we needed somebody to be able to play even in that two stand-up package where that had a little bit of in between D lineman, slash outside backer skill set that was stronger, a little bit bigger, that allows you to again still play a lot of the same structures that you would, while having the athletic ability to drop and to blitz and to rush and to do the things he needs to do. And so Tyron is, again, I think his best ball is ahead of him. He's a physical player. He being at this level, this opportunity to which is why most of these guys do that, the opportunity to get, at a higher level and start looking down the road to what's next and give him that opportunity. He's being really good means a lot to him. I know that game meant a lot to him, being from Lubbock, and so I knew he was going to play. Probably play a little, just a game for him that I knew was important. So, but he's been a great addition for us. He's heavy-handed. He's strong. He's able to get in there and do a little bit of both what a D lineman does and an outside backer does.
What kind of advantage is it to have a defensive player trying to rush the QB that used to play quarterback? Is that unique to you, and then even an advantage in a room where he says no, QB would do this or this?
No, I mean it does. Tyron's a really smart player. I don't know that playing quarterback helps him in his rush awareness. I say pocket awareness, but because he was an option quarterback, and so he was not necessarily a pocket guy, drop back. He was a straight option quarterback, which most time what that tells you if I'm evaluating a high school recruit, is that's what they have to be at that high school offensively. So that coach is that's where if he's running that offense, that's where his best athlete or one of his better athletes is going to be. And so you look at that and you're like, all right, well, if he's not a quarterback, there's something somewhere else he could probably do. I wouldn't think it would be a 260-pound outside backer, but it worked out well for him and worked out well for us.
You've got a couple quarterbacks. I think Hershey played quarterback. Mm-hmm. I guess it's the baseball deal where you take shortstops and center fielders and your best athletes. That play into it? Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're not athletic, you can't play at this level. So it's Hershey was unique. He was a high school quarterback, same style of offense. I'm throwing them, just ball drills and stuff in pregame and then in practice and play catch with Hershey. And Hershey can't throw, but he's a really long athlete that can jump. He affects windows in space, and he kind of has a knack out there and seeing, especially off of a scramble, like where the windows are. Whether that experience going back helped him. He come off a knee injury. He was recruited out of high school. Knee injury really forced him to go junior college, and so it was kind of a position change and kind of went unknown for a little while.
There's a mental capacity too. I mean, your quarterback's got to understand concepts and bigger picture things, and you flip them around on defense, you could probably do a little bit more with them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that
helps.
Yeah, I tell them, and I'm definitely no quarterback guru, but I tell them all the time, football is angles and numbers. From our standpoint, that's exactly what it's angles and numbers. And if they understand that, within our scheme, they can be successful, and Hershey does.
Terrence said when he visited here, what kind of sold him was that you were very clear with him what he was going to play and how he was going to be used. When you recruit anybody, how important is that? Because you're talking about you see athletes and you think they might fit somewhere, but how important is it to get a guy in here and say, you're going to be our bandit and you're going to do this and this? And, I mean, how big of a selling point does that?
Well, I mean, there's only so far that flash and flare and different things go in the recruiting process. That only carries you so far. It has to be, a fit for everybody involved, fit for the people that matter the most to the student athlete, because at the end of the day, they're going to find out the truth within however long of being here. With me, it's the first day. Like they're gonna. So it's I think that's important, because there's always validation on video of you showing them what you want them to do. And I always tell them, if I'm, against somebody else, like make them show you what they're asking you to do. 'Cause I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm asking you to do. If it's not your cup of tea, you got your list, I got my list. Here we go. So I just think they're going to find out the truth. You're better off. They understand exactly what they're getting into. And so the transition, wherever that is whether it's from high school, junior college, or another 4-year institution, that transition's easier. And that's the hardest part. It's especially transfer-wise, like we're bringing you here for a reason. We're bringing you here to play and be productive. The faster we can make that happen, the better off it's going to be for you, the better off it's going to be for us, and everybody's happy. So the easiest way to do that is this is what the plan is. It may vary a little bit from time to time or situation to situation, but just be upfront with them.
A couple of times you guys have talked about changes you made after the Penn State game and kept on the shelf for Duquesne, rolled out against Pitt. As much as you can share, not all the secrets I know, but like what did you try to improve or put into place that may explain some of the improvements the past few weeks?
Again, I think it's more fundamental than it is anything else. We're not, we don't go out. The changes that we've made defensively over the offseason, we're not going to go out from day to day, week to week, and reinvent the wheel. I think it's more about getting better at what we're trying to do. There's all kinds of tweaks and variations, and I think last year that's really probably what got us, is with the pieces we were trying to make wholesale changes, which is totally my fault. I know better than try to do that. I just felt like that was best for everybody. And this year that we don't, and it's about getting better at what we're doing and who we are and who we have to be successful. And that's as much fundamentally, or way more fundamentally, than it is schematically. I mean, there's at the end of the day, there's a snap, a block, and a tackle on every play. And if the ball's in there, we have to attack it, and we have to make people earn their reception, earn their yards on carry, shed blocks, make tackles. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And we've talked about the personnel, and every player goes through it. Every couple of players at every position, to where they're not playing to where they need to play, and the consequence for that is next man up. So we had to do that, but it doesn't mean that we've shelved anybody for the season. It's just, again, that individual has to play better, and then as a unit, we have to continue to just get good at the things of who we are and what we like to do. And I think that the kids, there's you have to do things they can do and they like to do. I ask them all the time, like, what do you like here? What call do you like? They, whether it's Lee or whoever, well, what about this? Okay, here we go. And so when you can do that, they feel comfortable in that scheme. If they're comfortable, they play fast, and they play fast, they're usually making plays. So I think that's been the biggest thing we've improved on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.